Hello. Thank you so much for joining us here today. I wonder, for those who are watching, if you would introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your organisation and the services offered, and maybe a little bit about your role within that organisation as well.
Thanks for having me here. Lorraine Dolan is my own name, and I am the regional coordinator for an organisation called Sage Advocacy. So the regional coordinator of the Midwest, covering Limerick, Clare and North Tip. Sage Advocacy is an independent free service, and we provide support and advocacy for the older person and vulnerable adults, and also healthcare patients. We are a referral-based service, and that referral system is open to all services, individuals and family members. So individuals themselves that might require advocacy, or family member might refer on behalf of an individual, or services such as financial services, legal services, social care services. So I suppose, and ultimately it's open for anyone to refer.
And I suppose the thing is, as somebody who doesn't know what Sage is exactly, why would I contact you?
So Sage is very much about acting on behalf of somebody who needs to have their voice heard, or requires support to have their voice heard, or who requires support in decision making. So advocacy, I suppose, is so broad. It could cover anything. Like our referrals, I could have maybe say 10 referrals in a week, and every one of them could be different. It could be a financial element. Somebody could be requiring support financially, could be requiring support legally, or also could be requiring support with a decision that needs to be made. So that individual might have a particular will and preference, or might have a particular wish. So for example, somebody transitions from home into a nursing home and doesn't want to be there. The nursing home might become aware of this person's wish to want to go home. A family member might be in support of the person wanting to go home, so they might refer to us to become involved as somebody independent who can oversee what this person wants. So we will speak to the referrer. We will ask, have they obtained consent from the individual in question? So consent is really important. So this person, we would presume, has capacity. This person, we are told, has given consent. We will go and we will meet with this person. We will discuss the consent bit first. Have they consented to the service? What is the presenting issue? So say, for example, this person would like to return home from the nursing home. It is not their wish to be there. We then look at how can we support this wish. And the client is very much at the centre. It is client-led service. They instruct how we proceed. So we cannot do anything without their permission. We cannot discuss with the nursing home, with the family, if they do not consent us to do so. But if they give us consent to discuss with whoever is relevant and important in having this goal achieved, and that's all obviously in writing. So then that's how we proceed with the person. Where do we go from here? What services do we need to collaborate with? What family members do we need to collaborate? Who do we need to challenge in terms of fulfilling this wish for this person? And I suppose in that terms, I was talking about somebody with capacity. So at times there will be somebody perhaps with a diagnosis of dementia, for example, where capacity may be fluctuating. We would still work with this person because there is still capacity there. As I say, we always presume capacity, and then we will meet the person. Where it's a case of somebody who does not have capacity, Sage can provide a non-instructed advocacy service. So we will still act on behalf of the person, even though it may be evident that there isn't capacity there. And in a situation like that, it is more important for us to work with people who know the person well. So be that family, or be it services who are already involved, to get a sense of what was this person's will and preference before they lost capacity. And then we work from that angle.
And we say with that, sometimes does it happen, for example, if we use a dementia case, that maybe though the person would love to remain at home, it isn't possible? Are there ways though then, within your skill base and what you can offer, that I suppose that the transition can become easier for them, or the stay in the home, in the nursing home, maybe can be made easier, better? I'm not sure.
I think that is often the crux of it. I find if somebody, for example, has been placed into a nursing home, either against their will or without discussion, they will settle. They will take longer to settle. When they present that they want to go home, when they're involved in the process, the whole process of what that looks like, and the discussion around that, the reality of that, even if they do not get to go home, often it makes the transition easier for them because they come to the conclusion themselves that the nursing home may be the best place for them.
Yes.
And then I suppose outside of that, you know, we will do our utmost to ensure that their wish becomes a reality. But as you said, may not always be possible. But how to look at that and try and, you know, make that a reality involves a lot of steps.
Yeah.
You know, it could be looking at home supports. What home supports do they require? Us advocating to get adequate home supports.
Yeah.
What other community services may they need at home when they do come home? Is it Meals on Wheels? Is it somebody to become involved to, like a family member, to collect a pension, collect medication? So those practical elements.
Yeah.
And sometimes there are no family involved. So as you said, sometimes you have to look at safeguarding the person, balancing the safeguarding of the person, the risk of going at home, fulfilling their wish, and safeguarding that person. So balancing that risk and upholding their wish. So yeah, it's challenging, but that's our role. That is our role,
and
ultimately.
the whole time you're letting them have their voice heard. Is what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah. So, and they are leading the process.
Yes.
So our service is very much led by the guiding principle. It's a human right-based approach. And it's the right to have your voice heard. And our guiding principle is nothing about you without you. So nothing is done, nothing about you without you. Yeah.
Lovely.
So that has been our tagline for many years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, I know you mentioned, other areas. We said like the nursing home, a person not wanting to go there is one idea. But are there other areas? You mentioned financial side in that.
Yeah.
So would it be okay just ask a little bit about some of those?
That's no problem. Sometimes, and again, I refer to, I suppose, maybe somebody transitioning into a nursing home and around supporting them to maintain control of their income, maybe. So, and maybe it's somebody in the community also. So oftentimes we would a referral may be made, and it could be a concerned neighbour, it could be a concerned family member who say, I sense that Mary doesn't have control of her finances. Again, it could be somebody that has been diagnosed with dementia and control might have been taken away. So somebody steps in and says, I'll collect the pension, I'll pay the rent, I'll pay the nursing home fees, whatever it might be. But the person in question might want to have some control maintained. So it's about supporting them with that. How can we support you to maintain control of your finances for as long as possible? Yeah. Or how can we support you to understand the Fair Deal scheme, perhaps? Yes. And that's usually a massive one as well. It can be a minefield for people. And more than anything, sometimes we don't research what the fair deal is when we're in our 20s, 30s, 40s. And it's only when we are entering into a nursing home we hear of this scheme and what is this all about? What does this mean?
Yeah.
And oftentimes our role is to either explain the scheme, support through the process of the fair deal, the practical side of it. Obtaining the relevant statements, bank statements, credit union statements, completing the application. Wow. So a lot of that, I suppose, that's the financial side of things. Even now, the upcoming closing of the Ulster Bank, we'll just say, again, we'll have a lot of probably referrals coming in saying, look, and there could be people in nursing homes, might be people at home. I've just heard the Ulster Banks are closing. My account is there. What am I going to do? My direct debits are there. Or my nursing home is paid from the Ulster Bank. Can you support us with this? So Sage will liaise with, and are currently liaising with the Ulster Banks to ensure that we can help with this smooth transition. We can work with the banks, I suppose.
It sounds very much also like you take stress away where possible.
Yeah.
Or in a stressful situation, you're there to support.
Yeah. There's a lot around finances, and sometimes it may be as simple as somebody's collecting somebody's pension as they see fit, or they believe this is what is the best thing to do to support the person. And it may not be what the person wants, but they have difficulty maybe raising this because it kind of puts them in a vulnerable situation. They know somebody is helping them, but they would like to maybe get back a little bit of that control.
Yeah. So it's as you say, it's giving them control as much as possible with
and
it.
Understanding. And when you enter a nursing home, there's a fee to be paid. There's extras on top of that. There's pharmacy bills. Where is my money going?
Yeah.
Who is looking after my finances when I'm in here?
A simple one, just as an example. I remember when my mother went into a nursing home and she didn't realise, we didn't either at the beginning, that she had to pay to get her hair done. She thought that was part of it. So it's even that it's explaining Here's where it goes, here's what's involved.
Yeah. And sometimes we are the liaison person with the nursing home and the client.
Okay.
So a situation might arise where somebody is a little bit unclear about what's happening with their finances. It might be up to us to speak with the director of nursing or the nursing home group and say, can you ensure that, invoices and bills are itemised and explained and given to the client in question, the resident, not a family member, so that although you feel they may not be able to fully understand it, that they're given the opportunity to know what's going on. So again, it's putting them at the centre. It's allowing people to be in control of their lives as far as is possible.
That's fantastic.
Despite their capacity.
And you said, I suppose again, it's just, you said there's a U in each region in the country. So it's not just, I don't have to just be in sort of the Limerick or Clare area. I can access you no matter where. Anywhere in the country.
So say again, I cover Limerick, Clare, North Tip. We have somebody covering South Tip, Cork and Kerry. Like the whole of Ireland is covered by a regional coordinator. There's a number of regional managers then, and then up the line service manager, CEO.
I would say, how do people get in touch with you?
There's a number of ways. As again, it's a referral-based service. So we have a website that's sageadvocacy.ie. On that website, for those who are tech savvy, and obviously a lot of our clients are not tech savvy, but they can go on, they can access the referral form. So from a service perspective, if it's a professional referring, and obviously a family member as well, they can go on the website, they can access the referral form, consent forms, anything they need on that, and they can complete a referral form, email it in to info@sageadvocacy.ie. That goes into head office, and then it's logged to whatever region is relevant. So if it's for a Midwest referral or a Midwest, if the client is in the Midwest, it's logged to my system and then I get it. If they don't want to go down the email route, we also have a helpline number. You'll see the number on the screen. There's a head office number as well, which is based in Dublin.
Brilliant.
So there's a lot of different ways. Nice. The helpline number is a rapid response service. It's manned from 8 in the morning till 10 in the evening.
Okay. If
that's not answered, it is answered 99% of the time. But if it's not, you will get a call back. Leave a message, you will get a call back within an hour. Okay. In urgent cases, a Sage representative, that's what we would be called, can be provided within 24 hours.
Wow.
So there's a Dublin number, the head office number, which will always be answered. So you have the rapid response service. I have a mobile number, obviously, for the region. And then there's an info@Sage Advocacy address. And then people can go on the website to access the referral form.
So there's a lot of ways that they can contact
you. There is, yeah.
I suppose the other thing that just comes to mind, and it's, you were saying about we don't think in our 20s and 30s about, for example, fair deal. Let's say I'm an older person and there's a possibility I might be going into a nursing home, or I'm a bit concerned about the finance side of it or anything like that. Can I contact you but not necessarily need your help straight away?
Yeah. And just two things on that, I suppose. I did mention in our 20s and 30s we don't do a lot of planning ahead, even in our 40s, when we should be doing that. And that's a lot of our work as well. Is we use a tool called the Think Ahead document. This was designed by the Irish Hospice Foundation, and it is a booklet, and it allows somebody to plan ahead. It allows them to record information that may be relevant, or will be relevant in most cases. But it's useful for somebody who perhaps again has a diagnosis of dementia and knows that their capacity is going to diminish. So while they have capacity, will record information in this that will support their will and preference. And it also is practical stuff like if they went into a nursing home and they still were maintaining their home, where did they put their bills? Where did they, what solicitor have they their will with if they have drawn up a will? Practical information, but also their will and preference will go into this. Okay. So their will, I never want to go to a nursing home. Or if I do, I want it to be this nursing home I go to. So information like that. It's called Think Ahead, and it's a planning ahead document, which we should all be filling up again. Yeah. And the second thing you said there was about, if somebody has a concern and they're trying to plan ahead, so they are being, wise, I suppose, they can contact and say, look, I'm having difficulty making a decision, or I'm trying to plan ahead. Can I have some support with this? We can certainly call to see the person, discuss this further. If they want to just say, can you give me a call back in a few months? That's absolutely fine as well. We can say, well, you don't need to make a referral just yet. We can leave a note with one of my colleagues or the relevant Sage representative to make touch with you if it's in a few months. Yes. Often we get people as well ringing the helpline number who are not sure whether it's an appropriate referral or like that, if they're in need of help just yet, but they will get support on that helpline, which will make it clearer for them. do you need to refer now? Or can your concern be answered through that helpline? Does it need to be a full-on referral to myself? Or can that query be resolved over the phone? So that helpline does that as well.
And I suppose it gives a person a peace of mind.
Yeah,
and I've made that I've taken that first step. And as you say, I might need you for 6 or 8 months, but I kind of know what's next.
Yeah,
which is wonderful.
And it's to have an awareness of the service, I suppose. Yeah, we're never going to say, look at, your query is not relevant at this stage. Our job is to support in whatever level we can.
I mean, it sounds a very satisfying role also. Hard work, but very satisfying as well.
Yeah, it is satisfying. And I suppose because, again, as I said earlier, the organisation is based on a human rights perspective. And all of us that work within the organisation are quite passionate about human rights. And I suppose having our voice heard, because any of us could be in this situation at any time, whereby, we have a concern or we have a wish and we're not being heard.
Yeah.
And a lot of our work is guided by the upcoming legislation, which we hope will be fully enacted by June, which is the assisted decision-making legislation. Okay. And this is about moving away from a mindset of somebody has dementia, they have no capacity, control is taken away, to a mindset of, okay, the person has received a diagnosis, what can we do now to support them going forward with decisions that need to be made?
Okay.
So rather than removing control from people who still have some capacity, which may fluctuate or may have none at all, what can we do to support that person? So that legislation really it underpins our work as it stands.
Absolutely.
But when it's fully enacted, obviously there'll be an onus on all professionals as well as ourselves to try and adhere by this and to work towards this new mindset of supporting people to make decisions.
And I think that's it. It's that it goes back to giving voice and supporting and respecting the person where they're at that time as well. It sounds fabulous.
Yeah, 100%.
I didn't realise the service was available at all to people.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that I haven't thought to ask you about the service or what you do?
Yeah. There probably isn't. Sometimes it can be hard to define advocacy, but to keep it simple, it is ensuring someone has their voice heard and supporting a person where they're at. So it's a support service, it's an independent advocate. So if I come upon a situation, I am working with the person despite what maybe a community service, a family member, or be it a nursing home or hospital, what their agenda, and maybe agenda is the wrong word, but what they feel, where they're coming from. I suppose my role is to ensure that I act independently on behalf of this person, despite what their will and preference or their wish may be. It's a non-judgmental service, it's independent, we're free, and I suppose that's quite important. It is a free and obviously a confidential service.
Yeah, hugely important for people. I suppose to anybody that's watching this, is there a nugget of wisdom or advice that you'd give them?
For somebody who may require the service, I suppose, we're looking at it from that perspective. I think that the helpline number is always a good place to start as well, because you can still call anonymously. You're not putting yourself out there. You don't have to give your details or your name. And it might be a starting point for someone who has a query or just a slight concern or is just unsure about whether the service may be for them. Do they need support? What's the relevant support? And the person on the other end of the phone will signpost, will guide, will advise as far as is possible. And that may be sometimes just enough. And then if they feel comfortable enough and they're reassured by what they're hearing and what advice they've been given, they might be willing to move on into a full referral and be met by myself or one of my colleagues.
That sounds fantastic. Yeah. And I suppose that same advice would be maybe for a family member where they're concerned for be it mum, dad, the granny, the granddad, and say, and I suppose it gives security to all the family as well, knowing there's somebody independent.
Yeah, because oftentimes that is why we're brought into a situation. It's because there may be a family dynamic where some members of the family agree with something or don't agree with something, and there's a bit of a pull there. And the client, the person in question, be it the mum or dad, can get lost in it. And we don't act as mediators, but we can come in as an independent person. And sometimes it's a fresh point of view, and it's somebody that's able to say, I can see your point of view, and I can see your point of view, but this is actually Mary's point of view. How can we work to support her point of view and take everyone else's you know,
A step back.
yeah, just a step back, while also respecting that they have their own concerns,
Yeah.
do you know, and working collaboratively where as far as possible with everyone who has their concerns, do you know.
Yeah.
But ensuring when things start to, you know, pull again, that you're saying, okay, you know, I can take phone calls from X, Y, and Z, but it's always at the consent of the client. That who I speak to and how we proceed.
Yeah.
Just to mention as well, we also have a nursing home residents family forum.
Okay.
I suppose this came about as COVID happened. Obviously, we're all aware of restrictions that were placed on nursing homes, restrictions with regards to visiting, you know, for family members. There was a lot of window visiting, and it had obviously an impact on the residents and also an impact on family members. And our helpline would have received a lot of calls, you know, either seeking clarity or just with frustration and concern and upset.
Yeah.
So the Nursing Home Residents Forum came about as a result of that, and it provides a space where a family member or the resident themselves can contact Sage to discuss a concern, and also Sage can then bring that to either the service provider, sometimes the regulator, and sometimes government to act on their behalf. Where can we go from here? How can we provide structured feedback? How can we reassure this person? What can we highlight also? It was a means of highlighting concerns that families were bringing on how these restrictions and other things were affecting them.
Yeah.
So it's the Nursing Home Residents Family Forum, and again, that can be contacted at the numbers that will show on the screen.
Yeah, as well.
Yeah.
So you were very quick to come up with something that could support people, even when you couldn't necessarily get in there.
Yeah, exactly. And there's an email address for that also. It's the family forum at sageadvocacy.ie.
Thank you so much,
Okay, no
Lorraine.
problem.
It's been absolutely fantastic. Really, really
You're more
informative.
than welcome. Thanks very much.
Thank you.